Nobody can drag me down. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel and day 2 of Halloween week. If you were here for Halloween week day 1 yesterday, you would see me complaining about this thing. I don't know if you can see, but I've literally just finished filming that. I have got an indent in my head of the wig cap. Now you know I wasn't being dramatic. Like, it was genuinely cutting off circulation to my brain. I have gone very lazy again with costume, but I am American Psycho, which, if you know me, I hate the film American Psycho. I read the book first and I watched the film after reading the book, and in the book I had to shut it a few times because I was genuinely terrified, and I thought I'd feel that way about the film. And to me, everyone loves it. People do really love the movie, but I feel like you love the movie if you haven't read the book. I hate to be that person, but yeah, he just didn't come across scary to me. He just came across a bit cringy, a bit like, oh, shut up. The only way I would watch American Psycho if they remade it and Damien Leone remade it. He's the only person I trust to give that film exactly what it needs, and it's all the gore from the books. That's what it needs to be a good movie. I am doing quick costumes, so I thought Patrick Bateman, quick, easy, lovely, and I don't have to wear a fecking wig because I've still got that dent in my head. It must have been about 20 minutes now and I've still got the dent in my head, and it's really quite painful. So I hope everyone's day is going fabulously. I am going to ruin it for you with a horrible true crime case. So you absolutely, if you like true crime, or if you have the internet, you will have seen the video of this guy. You will have seen it. There's no way you won't have seen it, because I'd seen it and I didn't know what it was from. I didn't know what kind of had happened, but it definitely came up on my feed. So yeah, you will kind of know about this guy without really knowing about this guy. This is an actual Halloween case. Does it take place on Halloween though? Let me check. I'm not sure it does. Okay, so it kind of takes place around Halloween, but it's associated mainly with like Halloween masks. I have also completely forgot how to pronounce this guy's name. So the way I'm reading it, that would be McGhee if they were English, but they're American. So I'm not sure. I'm going to read it as McGhee, and I will post a lengthy apology in the caption if I have pronounced it wrong. For today's case, I am going to be covering the case of Dawson McGhee. We think it's McGhee. Trigger warnings for this case I think the only one I have is mental illness. So if that's something you don't kind of want to hear about or deal with at the moment, that's totally fine. I'll see you for another video. Content warning, strong language. Now we can get on with the case. So Dawson's parents are called Thomas and Kathleen. They started dating in college and it was a love at first sight, sweethearts situation. I'm so proud I said sweethearts right. That was first take. If you've seen any of my other videos, I cannot say high school sweethearts. One time it took me about 8 tries, so I'm really proud of that. After college, they quickly got married and they moved to Chicago so Thomas could carry on studying. And whilst they were there, they had 2 children, Justin and Colin. They eventually moved back to the Bay Area so that Thomas could find work. I have no idea what I mean here. I've put magenta, they had another child. Fuck knows. In 1985, they had another child and they had Dawson. They then went on to have a daughter named Caitlin. Kathleen then decided to become a stay-at-home mum and homeschool the children, which is absolutely amazing, but I could not think of anything worse. And she fully had it like bossed out. She had a full-blown like classroom at home. She had schedules, she'd set them homework. She was like a proper full-on teacher, as well as being a mum, looking after the house, looking after her husband, cooking, cleaning, everything. She was like a superwoman, honestly. All of the children seemed to be absolutely thriving from Kathleen homeschooling them, apart from Dawson. He didn't seem like he could focus. Kathleen did try several different teaching techniques with him. She was not willing to give up on him very easily, and kept trying different ways that she thought might help him learn and help him concentrate, but none of them seemed to really be helping. Dawson seemed to be a lot needier than the other 3 children, and he took up the most of Kathleen's time. Dawson seemed to crave attention from a very young age, and he was not bothered whether this was positive or negative attention he was getting, as long as he was getting attention. Kathleen struggled with this, and she just really wanted to help Dawson, and she didn't really know where else to turn now, so she ended up taking Dawson to the doctors, where he was diagnosed with ADHD. I think this was a relief for Kathleen, because then she knew how best to treat him and how best to teach him. After he was diagnosed, he started thriving in his academics and eventually went on to be enrolled into a public school, and I think he actually graduated a semester early, so he was clearly very clever. Dawson was then enrolled in university, where he decided to study music as it was his passion. It was the only thing he could really properly concentrate on. He loved music. In 2009, Dawson had graduated and he went on to try and find a job in music. However, this was just after the recession, so trying to find a job anywhere was a struggle, and I think even in good times, finding a job in the music industry is a struggle. Not that I know, I'm not musical whatsoever. I can barely hold a note. I'm very good in my car though. Dawson did end up getting a part-time job as a music teacher, but this was far from his dream job. And he struggled with this quite a lot because all of his siblings seemed to be very high achievers, and he just felt, I don't know how he felt, but this really affected his mental health and his self-esteem. This resulted also in Dawson becoming quite closed off, even more so than he already was. In the end, Dawson ended up quitting his part-time job as a music teacher, and because of this, he had no money. And because he had no money, he had to move back in with his parents, Kathleen and Thomas. Kathleen was buzzing about this. She was so happy to have one of the kids home. She just waited on him hand and foot. She was a superwoman, because I just can't imagine waiting on anyone hand and foot. Maybe it's because I don't have kids. So she was super happy to have him home. However, Thomas felt like Dawson was taking advantage of Kathleen, and he wasn't very happy about this. It seems like Dawson very much was taking advantage of Kathleen, because he expected and demanded that she do everything for him, from his laundry to his cooking, cleaning up after him. He expected her to do everything, wait on him hand and foot. Nah. Thomas, his dad, felt that Dawson should at least be helping out around the house. If he's going to be living there rent-free, he should be helping out. He should be doing chores. He shouldn't expect his mum to dote on him hand and foot. And he even tried to encourage him to start looking for new jobs, new part-time jobs. But Dawson wasn't interested in this. He was only interested in doing nothing. And this went on for months. Dawson eventually started telling Kathleen, his mum, that he was suffering from some kind of psychosis. He was having extreme anxiety, and he was hearing voices and hallucinating. Dawson did go and see a psychiatrist, and he was diagnosed with a psychotic disorder, but there's no specification as to what psychotic disorder he was diagnosed with. So he was put onto medication, and he was encouraged to keep a diary. Dawson, because he thinks he knows best, started to self-medicate with marijuana, and this just heightened all of his symptoms to make everything just so much worse. That is not what you want to take when you are experiencing all of the things that he is experiencing. Now, around this time, Dawson started to become fixated and obsessed with horror movies, which there's nothing wrong with. I am a very big horror movie fan, but I think there's a line before you start to scare everyone of how much you can be into something. So yeah, he started to become obsessed with horror movies and also horror masks, like Halloween masks, like the Jason mask and the Michael Myers mask. I love a horror movie, but he would watch them all day, every day, which even for me is just too much. So I could probably watch this all day, every day. I love that movie. Yeah, he started to dress up as some of the characters, but it wasn't Halloween at this point. So I'm assuming he was freaking out people in the neighbourhood, because in like a random day in like February, he would go out dressed as Michael Myers with the boiler suit and the mask, and he'd just like go and do the food shop dressed like that. Sorry, it's not funny, but I just don't know how I'd react if I was in Sainsbury's and I saw Michael Myers doing his weekly shop. In February, to be fair, I'd probably find it quite amusing. Doing the food shop, going on a walk, driving round, it's just not normal, is it? So one day Dawson went to the cinema with his brother. I don't know what to watch, probably a horror movie. And Dawson got up like halfway through, And his brother, I think his brother just assumed he was going to get like popcorn or go for a wee, like most people would assume if you just got up. It was quite a while later and his brother realised, where the hell is Dawson? So he starts kind of like looking around the cinema, and at the back row, Dawson sat there with, what mask is it? I don't know. He sat there in a mask. He sat there in some kind of Halloween mask. And to me, that's just odd. But all of these things that he's doing just seem like he's just wanting attention from it. Like I said earlier, he wasn't bothered if the attention was good or bad. He just wanted attention, which is very childish in my opinion. But some people are like that. I can't think of anything worse. If anyone looks at me, I melt. I think he was quite confused why his brother was sat there in a Halloween mask and he chose not to sit next to him. But again, I just think it was a cry for attention. It's very, very strange. Dawson was encouraged by a psychiatrist to keep a journal, and these entries started to get darker and darker and slightly more concerning. He believed he was being haunted and like hunted by demons. One night in the middle of the night, Dawson just ran out of the house in his pyjamas, ran to his friend's house and started banging frantically on the door. And his friend, quite startled, came and answered the door and let him in, and he said that he was being chased by demons. And he was quite visibly upset and stressed and terrified. That would terrify me. I mean, I'm telling you now, if someone came in the middle of the night banging on my door, I'm not answering it. That's terrifying. That's too much for me. As much as I love horror movies, I don't want to be in one, which is why I don't go to like Halloween Horror Nights or anything like that, because I can't do it. So Dawson's strange behaviour just keeps getting stranger and stranger and stranger. And who is it? Dawson's uncle was suffering from Parkinson's. Dawson and his siblings, and I believe his mum and dad, had gone to visit his uncle. And whilst they were there, Dawson then started to kind of mimic his behaviour. He started shaking and stuttering. That's wildly inappropriate for a start. It's just very odd. Again, I don't know if it is just a thing for attention, but his siblings noted that he could seem to kind of turn this behaviour on and off, which is what makes me think he's just doing it for attention, but that's just really odd and insensitive. I tend to stutter occasionally. I don't have Parkinson's, that's not what I'm saying, but I do tend to stutter when I get stressed or anxious. And I've had a GP receptionist mimic me back to me. And that was horrible. Like, I just don't understand why you'd ever want to do that to someone. It's very odd. However, Kathleen, Dawson's mum, did give him the attention when he kind of wanted it. When he was behaving in this way, he did get her attention, which is exactly what he wanted. So, back to Kathleen's life. Kathleen has just started to do some volunteer work with victims of abuse. And part of the work that she's doing, she is teaching victims how to spot signs of being manipulated. And this is great. Well, it's great the work that she's doing anyway, but this is great for her because she is noticing that Dawson is, in fact, manipulating her. So, amazing. After this, she does start to change her attitude towards Dawson slightly. She does start doing less for him, and she does start to learn to say no, which is great because she is his mother. She's not his mother, but she is his mother. But he's a grown-ass man. Like, you don't need to be doing everything for him. He is capable of making his own dinner. He's capable of washing his own clothes. As you can imagine, Dawson being the giant baby that he is, this did not go down well, and he threw a tantrum like a child. He decided that he was not going to do anything around the house, but I don't really think that would have been much of a difference because I don't think he was doing anything anyway. But this did mean Dawson and his dad Thomas got into a massive argument to the point where police were actually called. When the police got there, I think Dawson thinks he's the smartest person in the room, which he's absolutely not. And he felt like he could manipulate the police and started crying and pleading and saying, "Please tell my dad that he can't kick me out. I'm their son. You're a grown man." The police went, it's their house. They can kind of do what they want. And Kathleen actually did side with Thomas. In October 2011, Caitlin, Dawson's sister, Kathleen's daughter, moved back in. She was getting married and she wanted her mum's help planning everything for the wedding. However, this meant that Kathleen's attention was very much on Caitlin. And this put Dawson in a foul mood, especially towards Caitlin. He actually refused to talk to her. He refused to talk to her because she was getting all the attention that he so rightfully deserved. This man is 20, is he 21? I think he's 21. just pathetic. So this bit's a little bit complicated because I don't even understand how I wrote it. So bear with me. The weekend before Halloween in 2011, Caitlin is on a work retreat. Thomas is on a work trip. Right, Kathleen went to church with her other son, Justin, and she had plans to pick up Caitlin from the retreat later on. Okay, I didn't need the church bit in there, that was confusing. So around 4 p.m, Kathleen spoke to her other son on the phone, so they had a conversation. And after she had finished dinner, she went up to get herself ready to go and pick Caitlin up from her retreat. Are you with me? I don't even know if I'm with me. So when Kathleen is going to leave her bedroom, she sees a man stood in her doorway in a Halloween mask with a knife in his hand, which is straight out of a horror movie, like completely straight out of a horror movie. That's horrendous. Horrendous. But I can't imagine she was that scared. Maybe initially, but she would have just thought it's just Dawson fucking about. But it was not Dawson just fucking about. He had a kitchen knife in his hands, and he then stabbed his mother 10 times in the neck, chest and abdomen area. And these were very brutal stab wounds. 8 out of the 10 stab wounds would have been fatal on their own. So that just shows you exactly how brutal this attack on his mum was, which is just awful. This woman's done everything for him. So around 5 p.m, Caitlin's obviously waiting for her mum to pick her up. So I believe she gives her a ring, and she ends up getting a call back from Dawson, which she's obviously like, what the hell? Because he hasn't spoke to her in weeks, remember? He's been very, very off with her, like a brat. She thought this was really strange, and she said, where's mum? Like, what's going on? And he says, oh, I don't know where mum is, but I know her phone's broken. Caitlin continued to try and call her mum, so I think she called her around 3 more times at about 6 o'clock. And eventually she gets another phone call from Dawson, who is offering to pick her up from the retreat, which again, she's like, what the fuck? Because this man does not do anything for anyone. So she's very taken back by this. She's very confused. But Dawson goes to pick her up, and when he arrives to pick her up, he's in a very good mood, like too much, like a freaky good mood. Like, it would be odd because he hasn't spoke to her in weeks. He's been behaving like a child, and now he's in a super good mood and really happy to see her. And when he gets to pick her up, he says, oh, would you mind just running a few errands with me? Which again, she's like, weird, you want to spend time with me, but okay. So they go to Sacramento to meet his weed dealer, but they keep getting lost. He keeps taking the wrong turn-ins, and it takes them like hours to get there. So just to add to the weird, when they actually get out the car, he just vomits. But to be I can say this because I know full well Claire is not watching this. That just reminds me of how we were walking to work one morning. I think it was the first like day back in like January after you've been off for Christmas, and we're walking from the car park to work, and she just vomits in a bush like out of nowhere. Sorry, side note. Okay, back to the story. Gets out, throws up, and then they drive home. So by the time they get home, it's about 11 o'clock. So it's late. Caitlin is still very worried about her mum because she hasn't heard from her for hours, and this just really isn't like her. But I think she surmises that it's too late to kind of go and check on her now. Like, it's really late. She's probably asleep. I'll just check on her in the morning. I think Dawson also did tell her that she wasn't feeling well earlier on in the day. So just to kind of leave her be. So she definitely didn't want to go and disturb her if she was asleep. The next morning's Halloween morning, and Caitlin still just wants to see her mum. Dawson says that he's already seen her and she just wants to stay in bed. She's not feeling well, but he has some more errands to run today. So does she want to come with him? And bless her, I think she did just kind of genuinely want to spend time with him because it was such a shock. Like, it was so rare that he ever wanted to spend time with anyone. So she does agree to go, and I feel so sorry for her. But he can't keep her out all day. So when she gets home, she says, I want to go see mum. So she goes to let herself in her bedroom, but the bedroom's locked. So Caitlin calls the police, and Dawson vanishes. Unfortunately, obviously, they do go and find Kathleen's body, and they find out exactly what's happened. And because it's quite obviously Dawson, and especially because he vanished, they know it's him. So they start a manhunt for Dawson. And around 1:30 a.m. on Halloween night, they find him, pull him over and arrest him. Now, this is where you will have seen the interview, because Dawson, like I said earlier, thinks he's the smartest person in the room, always, and he thinks he can manipulate everyone. So thankfully there's a little hidden camera in the interview room which Dawson doesn't know about, and you can see him turn it on and off. He's faking mental illness, which is just disgusting. I have no time for people who do that. It's just absolutely vile, because people have to deal with genuine mental illness on a daily basis and get on with their lives. And for someone to try and fake it and use it as an excuse for doing something horrendous is just absolutely disgusting. So thankfully for this small hidden camera, you could see that as soon as the detective left the room, he stopped doing what he thought made him look mental. But as soon as they came back in, he's doing these weird things with his hands and trying to look like he's got something really wrong with him.
And it's kind of out of my hands from there, as far as, when or if we can sit down and talk. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to be right back.
Mm-hmm.
He also started acting like he had absolutely no idea what the detective was on about. Like he had no idea. Like he kind of blacked out for the whole event. Like he had not a clue. He thought his mum was fine at home, in bed, whatever. I really hate this guy. I mean, his acting is laughable. It's horrendous. But he really sticks to it. He sticks to the role that he's trying. But it doesn't work. So Dawson was charged with his mother's murder, and obviously he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. So it went to trial. His defence was that when he attacked his mother, he was actually attacking the demon from his hallucinations, and it wasn't his mother at all. However, the prosecution argued that Dawson absolutely knew what he was doing, from trying to cover up the discovery of his mum for such a long time. Obviously, he didn't want to spend time with his sister. He wasn't bothered. He just wanted to keep her out of the house long enough that she wouldn't go in that night. And he took her on errands in the morning just to prolong finding his mum's body. He knew what he was doing. And this proved that Dawson was sane at the time of his mother's murder. It took the jury a week to find Dawson legally sane. He was charged and he was found guilty of second-degree murder, as they do not believe that the murder was premeditated, which I can't see anything that it was either. I don't really know what kind of pushed him to that. It's kind of a bit random, like why he did that. It's just, there's not really a motive for him killing his mum, which is just really bizarre. He was sentenced to 16 years to life, and he will be eligible for parole in 2028, which is absolutely terrifying. And I very much hope he doesn't get out. I don't know. I don't trust people who love attention. It's like I don't trust people who don't like animals. It's just weird. Like, who doesn't like animals? I especially don't trust people who fake mental illness, because that's just vile behaviour. That is the story of Dawson. Did you recognise him? Had you seen those videos before? Because obviously I've already said that I had. But I just feel like everything I've watched, everyone else has watched. This was day 2 of Halloween week. I will painfully be back tomorrow to film again, because it's 7:30 and I just don't think I can fit in another one, because I've got to get all this crap off my face and then figure out what the hell I'm dressing up as for the next 3 days. This isn't a positive thought, but this is something really cute. So I'm going to insert a video of my dog. One of my dogs, this isn't my dog, but this is my brother's dog, makes the most insane noises. You wouldn't think they came out of a pug. Like, it's really odd. This is our 3rd pug that we've ever had. We've still got the other one, and neither of them two have ever made a noise like this. And this one's a panda pug, so I don't know if he's mixed with like a husky, but he makes some really weird noises. So I will insert my video of my dog, and that can be my positive thought of the day. If anyone has any case suggestions for around Christmas, that would be brilliant. Like Christmas and New Year, let me know. I would love that. So please let me know what you'd like to see me covering. I really appreciate suggestions. They make my life so much easier. Make good choices. Respect your mother. Don't kill anyone. Don't fake mental illness. Don't get bad, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Nobody. And McGhee. Oh, shit. But first, hi. I have to cut this out. You're in your pants.
Nah.
I cannot put underage children in pants on YouTube. Whew. I am gonna ruin it for you. Fuck knows. And then was enrolled. Dawson then enrolled in university. I can't say that. Dawson was then enrolled. Nobody. It was quite. How many times can you say and? I need to stop saying and. Yeah. Let me. Who is it?
Oh God, you mad, didn't you?
Nobody can drag me down. No, that's right. See, I've got it wrong already. Sorry, you can clearly tell I'm reading the script, but I'm really confused. Didn't need the church bit in there. That was confusing. Caitlin, no. Are you with me? I can't get One Direction out of my head. I'm so sad.